Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and my shook. In the previous video I investigated the engine because it's not running very nicely. It turns out that there's a chunk missing on the exhaust valve. Check the previous video out if you want to know how I figured that out. But yeah, it's not running very nicely. But it is running. And yeah, it sounds a little bit like a diesel engine, and that is because it's not firing at all on cylinder number 4, I would say. What I want to do in this video is to take off the head and start to hopefully fix the broken valve. So I have been postponing this job for a while because it's been very, very cold outside. But now it's still very, very cold, but the sun is back for once. And this is pretty much a greenhouse with all the windows. It's an orange house. But it's actually quite nice in here. I don't even have to wear gloves. It's very decent. So what I want to do is to start the strip down and the removal of the cylinder head. It's pretty basic engine. It's a push rod engine, so there's not a lot of things to worry about. I have to drain the coolant. I have to remove the coolant hose, the airbox, the exhaust manifold, the carburetor, and the wires, pretty much. That's it. And then, of course, the cylinder head bolts. And then I should be in there. So I'm going to get to work. I sometimes wonder why I'm staying in Denmark, because we have so many months of gray and cold weather. But to be honest, the feeling when the weather turns like a day today just makes it so much worthwhile. I think you're missing out if you're not feeling that change in weather and seasons. It's really great. Oh, there's an air filter in here. Surprising. Is this just attached with the balls right there? I think so. Looks surprisingly similar to my Lancia Abarth down here, the setup. But that's not surprising because the Soviet cars are very often very closely related with Fiat. These balls were really, really loose, which is a bit frightening considering that if they come loose, they will just be eaten by the engine. I'm gonna go drain the coolant. There's a point to drain it on right there on the radiator. Why did car manufacturers stop doing that? That's brilliant. There you go. I'm just going to attempt to take the entire manifold off without removing the cap. Just take it out as one big part. That'll just be a whole lot easier if I can do that. Just leave it hanging. I think that I can now remove the entire carb intake and exhaust manifold, push it off to the side like this. So I'm just going to start removing the cylinder head bolts. So the cylinder head is on the bench. Honestly, I don't know why I always remove the cylinder head without removing the push rods. It's a stupid way to do it. I really should have removed them. And let's see. I think it looks like that this engine maybe have had a rebuild once before, because the valves are marked with punches, with punch marks indicating 2, and then number 3. Could also be from factory, I don't know. And then there is this one. This was the one right there that I could see with my camera inside the piston in the previous video that there was a problem. And it's actually looking really interesting, that line up there and there. I wonder what made this. I was expecting to see a burned valve. I'm not so sure that this is burned now, but I don't have a lot of experience in it, in that kind of thing. Looks more like something maybe got caught, I don't know. But I need to remove that valve to inspect it. But before doing that, I'm just going to fill up all the cylinders. Yeah, I'm not going to fill up this one. But I just want to see how good these are sealing. So I'm just going to add some liquid into these 3 and see how, or if it leaks out the intake and exhaust. There we go. Oh. What about this one? Do you think it will leak? Yep. Okay, so it is the next day, and unfortunately I have just completed quite a lot of work, not off camera, but without sound, because I forgot to turn on the mic. Sorry about that, but I'm gonna show you what I did and then just do a bit of voiceover. I checked the tightness of the rest of the valves because I'm not planning on a complete cylinder head rebuild. I'm just planning on fixing what's broken and getting the Zook to run again. That's my goal. And it turned out that all the valves are completely fine, and actually the valve guides in the intake valve, when you look in the intake and the exhaust, looks very, very nice, a lot better than what I usually see. This engine clearly hasn't got a lot of kilometers on the clock. It looks a bit agricultural, to be honest, but it looks in good condition. Unfortunately, after removing the valve, which was a bit of a hassle because it has some kind of weird retaining ring around the retainers on the valves, I got them out in the end. It turned out that the valve guide was completely shot. The valve could move so much in the guide, and I did the test of putting the finger on the backside of the guide and then pulling the valve. You would want to hear a pop sound when you do that if the valve guides are all right. It didn't produce any kind of sound, but luckily I bought new parts for this project, and I bought only a cylinder head gasket, 1 exhaust valve and 1 valve guide. So I went ahead and tried to push out the old valve guide. I heated up the material around the guide and pushed it out. It came out. It took some force, but it came out. And then I installed the new guide. It went in pretty cleanly. And this is where we are at now. And just to show you, when I put in the new valve into the new guide, put my finger on top of the guide on the other side, we get this sound. This is the old valve guide. This is the old valve. When I push that in and put my finger on top of it, nothing, absolutely nothing, and it's moving about in there. It's completely wrecked. But of course, it's not tight because I can't be sure that it's completely censored. The valve seat could be damaged. It looks all right, I think, but I'm a bit surprised about that, seeing how damaged the valve seat itself is. But what I want to do now is to lap the valves in. And what I'm going to do is to add some coarse grinding paste to the new valve. Like this. A bit much maybe. This, and then put it in. Like so. And put this one on the valve. And then and I'm just going to do this for a long time, and in the end switch to the less coarse, to the fine paste. Just this sound until it goes away, and then smear the paste out on the surface again and again. And I'm going to do this for a long time, listening to some nice music, and then take you back. Okay, so it's honestly not going great, because I have been at it for a long time. Then what I did in the end was I painted the seat black using a marker, and then spun it in the seat, and you can see it removed the color up here, but down here, all this area where the damage on the valve was, it's still there. So this seat is not round. It's also out of alignment, but I think that's down to production. But it's just not round, so I'm gonna have to cut it a bit. And this is where I'm getting into deep waters, but that is what I like to be. And I'm gonna try to just cut it a little bit and then do all of the lapping once again. Just gonna cut this part of it. And I'm gonna do it ever so gently until the black markings are gone. I think with the proper alignment of the light I will be able to see that. So yeah, that took away a bit of it. I'm gonna go a bit further though. I think this will be alright. So now I'm just gonna lap it in again using the fine paste. I'm giving up, sadly. I have been trying to make this seat seal, and I think I probably went too far now, unfortunately, but hopefully the machine shop can save it. I'm just gonna stop now because I just can't make it not being leaky. It's annoying because it's a skill that I really would like to be able to, but I think the thing is the seat became oval because of the worn guide. And it's difficult to fix, and I'm not even sure it's possible to fix without changing the seat. I'm gonna let a machine shop do this, and then in the next video, hopefully, I will get this back, and then can reinstall it into the car. It's a shame. I hate when I have to give up. I'm very happy to say that I installed the guide, and it seems to have been a success. So that's nice at least. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can support me. There's a Patreon link down below, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.